This month's Thursdoid has a ton of cool stuff from all sorts of different aspects of Build 42, so let's get right into it. They start off by talking about a new secondary modding API system which makes it easier to translate and implement the new reading materials like flyers and newspapers which have been mentioned previously. Both of these will help with world building and also help you find specific areas on the map that could prove useful in one way or another. For example, this flyer for Nolan's used cars will reveal the spot on the map where it's located when you first read it. If you go there, they've actually made it so you can find the zombified owner of this place, white cowboy hat and all. Things like this will happen for all kinds of other locations you can find, which in my opinion is a very nice touch that makes the whole game feel much more real. The next thing in this blog is the new grass, which looks so much better. This is thanks to Build 42's new depth buffer, which reportedly also allows us to now sit on furniture in all directions. For the grass, it means that crawling zombies will be harder to see and fallen items will get more lost in said grass. This is perfect for Build 42 because of how much wilderness there will be with the new procedural generation. After that is the new way things will sound as you get deeper underground. Sounds from above ground will gradually get more muffled the further down you go, and once you get deep enough you'll start hearing things like distant mice, cans falling over, dripping water, and things like that. Also, things like gunshots underground will have more of an echo. I'll play the audio from the videos they gave us so you can hear for yourself. Following that, new zombie pathfinding has made it so that we will have more accurate zombies which will just go straight for a player behind a fence instead of somehow being smart enough to walk all the way around to the entrance. This will make it more like The Walking Dead where they had a horde of zombies pressing up against the fences of the prison. If this happens in Project Zomboid, once enough zombies pile up, the fence will eventually break, allowing the horde to spill into your base. This feature can be changed in the sandbox settings, however. Next, we have a continuation of the gun changes from last time. Some additions they have made since the ones talked about before are wind, fog, rain, and lighting will have an effect on hits and critical hits, which means that a ranged shot on a target hidden in dense fog or darkness will be almost impossible. The maximum range you can shoot has been increased and is no longer affected by skill level. The distance to a target has a greater effect on penalties caused by things like panic, drunkenness, movement, weather, and things like that. And in fact, most penalties are greatly reduced at short range. The radius that gunshots can be heard has been increased and can actually be modified in the sandbox settings. There are now sights and scopes for your guns which have an ideal range where they are most effective, so if you try to aim at a close range target with a long range scope, it will actually be less likely to hit than if you just weren't using the sight. Panic now affects not only critical hit chances but also the chance to hit in general. Critical hits and normal hits are now calculated in the same way, so if something affects your hit chance, it will also affect criticals. Hit chances are generally increased to allow for even low-level shooters to land hits in the right conditions, but any negative conditions will make it much harder. And ammo weights have been rebalanced, and also mounted flashlights are a very useful new addition. Now we get a look at some of the work they've been doing for the late-game armor. They want to avoid anything that looks too medieval or goofy, and also want to make sure that the endgame armor and gear can't just be found lying around certain places on the map. They go into detail about a few of the different categories of armor we can expect. Metal armors, which will look unique to Project Zomboid's Apocalypse, but also look along similar lines to the metal armor in Rust. Apocalyptic armors, which will look makeshift and modified and even can be made of tires. Armors with natural ingredients like leather and potentially even wood. Sports gear armor, which can of course be modified with things like spikes, and apparently you can also find zombies with spiked armor. As you can see, trying to shove a zombie wearing spiky armor will hurt your character. The last thing they mention in this blog is that they need to do more balancing with the zombie spawning in skyscrapers because 32 floors full of zombies is a bit too much at the moment apparently. And the only other thing they leave us with is this image of a really cool metal baseball bat with nuts and bolts all over it. Thank you all once again for checking out this month's Build 42 news with me, and I'll see you again soon with more new Project Zomboid content.